Good morning, and we are live. I'm telling you, I hope you're fired up today. I hope you are fired up today. Normally, I tell you, hope your coffee's as good as mine. Hell, I hope it's better. I really do. But you may want to take your coffee and exchange it for some tea today because I got some tea for you. Let's do this. Let's get busy. Let's jump right in. Good morning, everybody. I'm fired up. Y'all know I love politics. I really do love politics. We had a primary yesterday in Arizona that is just it has got me very fired up. It has got me very, very excited. Of course, the legendary, the incomparable Katie Hobbs just skated right into her primary. She didn't even have a challenger. She is just doing such a killer job in Arizona. Nobody stepped up, and rightfully so. You were going to get absolutely destroyed if you ran against Katie Hobbs. She is doing an amazing job. I cannot rave about her more. She is leading the charge into the midterms in 2028. And you talk about having coattails, man. You talk about changing the race. This is going to be fantastic. But I'm telling you, I got some tea for you. I do on these races. I really do. Y'all remember we talked about Mark Lamb, and he's the guy with the upside down pineapple allegations. The wife of one of his best friend, I should say, his best friend's ex-wife, has accused him of pimping his wife out, Mark Lamb's wife out, to her husband. And encouraging her husband to have illicit affairs. Yeah, they got an upside down pineapple problem. And if you don't know what an upside down pineapple problem is, don't Google it. Don't Google upside down pineapples. You don't want that mess on your. Somebody in the chat will explain to you what the upside down pineapple brigade is. But yeah, Mark Lamb won. He did. The Republicans in Arizona's 5th district. This is why I'm telling you, we are not the same, people. We are not the same. The Republicans took a look at that race, and they had another Republican, and they had Mark Lamb. This is a guy that has openly moved to Tennessee. He is running his race from a ranch in Tennessee that somehow, on a sheriff's salary, he afforded a $3 million ranch, and they brag about it too. This is the wife. Somebody needs to hang like an upside down pineapple on their gate. Oh my God. Yeah, they brag about it. They are all open about this. I want you to imagine you're going to try to run a race. You are going to try to run a race in Arizona from your ranch in Tennessee, and you got all kinds of upside down pineapple problems coming out all over the woodwork. Do you remember what happened with Graham Plattner? How it was one, then another, then another, then another. That's what's going to happen to Mark Lamb. That is exactly what's going to happen to Mark Lamb. They chose poorly, but chose they did. Chose they did. Chose they did. 1 second. Whoo. Yep, they absolutely chose Mark Lamb. They also chose Andy Biggs. Just had that up for you. They also chose Andy Biggs. Andy Biggs has a problem, and I mean a serious problem. If you don't know who Andy Biggs is, this is Andy Biggs. This is Andy Biggs. Andy is a jackass. He is a Trump taint licking MAGA jackass that says the stupidest shit. But Andy's got a problem. Andy's got a problem. Wait for this. You're not gonna believe this shit. This is the kind of thing. When I say we are not the same, I bring receipts. I bring receipts. This, put a pin in Andy Biggs for a second. Y'all remember Warren Jeffs? This is Colorado City, Colorado. Let's go to the map. This is, Colorado. I said Colorado. Colorado City, Arizona. There is a Colorado City, Colorado. This is Colorado City, Arizona. It's kind of a twin cities situation. I have it on the took the topographical map away so you can kind of see where it is. This little red dot right here. This is Arizona, Phoenix, Sedona, all that. If you go to the very north border of Utah, there's Colorado City and Hilldale. It's kind of like a twin cities situation. In Colorado City, it became very famous for a cult. Y'all remember Warren Jeffs? He's serving a life sentence plus 20 for raping kids. Y'all remember the FLDS, the Fundamentalist Latter-day Saints group, that, not to be confused with the Latter-day Saints. I had a big dust up online with some guy that was running his mouth that did not know the difference between the FLDS and the LDS. These are two different things. So if you're just an average, everyday, decent, upstanding Mormon, I am not shitting on you. We're talking about the FLDS cult, the Warren Jeffs cult. They ran Colorado City and Hilldale. They ran that area. And of course, Warren Jeffs eventually got arrested. It took the federal government to step in. He's serving life plus 20. Then, because, you're not going to tell us what to do with our kids, they put Samuel Bateman in charge of the FLDS cult. The people in the cult said, "No, we want Samuel Bateman in charge." Well, Samuel Bateman got promptly arrested, and he's serving 50 years for raping kids. I'm sensing a pattern here. God damn. Jesus. These are some messed up people. They really are. Oh, damn, that is good this morning. Woo! Mrs. Texas Paul has started this thing where she's taking flavored coffees and mixing them with really good regular coffee. You people have sent us such good coffee. I'm telling you. I am telling you. She started this thing where she's mixing like really good coffee and flavored coffees together to come up with these custom brews that are just, I'm telling you, my life is good, man. My life is good right now. It really is. But yeah, back to work. Back to work. They ran Colorado City, and more importantly, they ran the Colorado City Marshal's office. That's what the police department was down there called. It was full of FLDS members. The federal government stepped in. They sued them. To try to end the Colorado City Marshal's office. Ended. It was so corrupt. And this isn't an allegation. They won their case against them. They did. They won their case. They proved, just to give you some idea of some of the stuff that they were doing. If you were not an FLDS member, this marshal's office would not investigate your crimes. If somebody vandalized your shit, if somebody stole your shit, if you were not FLDS, they would just ignore your crime. They would. If you had leased land that butted up against the church's property and you tried to walk out on your own land that you just leased, they would arrest you for trespassing because they didn't want anybody looking at what they were doing. They were that super secretive, you know what I mean? The police force would arrest you. Lease this land. You're like a cattleman. You want to run cows on this land. The second you would step out on that land, the marshal's office in Colorado City would arrest you. Yeah, they were corrupt as hell. They would, if you were not an FLDS member, they would just come in your house, illegal searches, if you got into a financial dispute with a member of the FLDS church, they would arrest you. They were an arm of Warren Jeff's cult. They were terrible. So what's the problem? This seems cut and dried. Get rid of this police force, right? Well, let me introduce you to Brother Hezekiah Russell Holland. Brother Hezekiah Russell Holland. He's also the judge that handled the Exxon Valdez case up in Alaska. And you're saying, what the hell is an Alaska judge doing in Arizona? Wait for it. Now, if you don't know, the LDS is really big in Arizona. And while they're like, well, we're not the FLDS. That's a cult. Well, that's not us. They are very, very, very prominent and powerful in Arizona. They are. A judge in the Ninth Circuit that runs the Ninth Circuit by the name of Kaczynski does not want any of his judges going afoul of the LDS. He just doesn't. The LDS flexes their muscle. They control local politics. They control local police forces. They have moved into northern Arizona and they run the show up there, man. And Kaczynski doesn't want any of his judges, these Republicans, it's party and power first, doesn't want any of his judges, going afoul of these people. So he says, we're just too busy for this. We're so busy here in Arizona. We can't handle this. We got to bring in a judge from outside. And that's where Brother Hezekiah comes in. They brought in a judge from Alaska to oversee this case. A Reagan appointee, a religious conservative to step in. And he heard everything they were doing. And like I said, they proved their case. A jury found that what the Department of Justice said was happened. This was not in dispute, but the judge said, I just don't know. You just haven't, literally said, you haven't convinced me. It seems like getting rid of this police force is drastic. Maybe we could just ask them to do better. Yeah. And even the fucked up Republicans in Arizona went, what? Because this is cut and dried. This was a cult running a police force that was abusing people that were not in the cult. This was not, even fucking Cletus understood this. So a Republican in the legislature put up a bill. And, I beat the shit out of Republicans all day long for shit that they do wrong. You know what I mean? But when one of them gets something right, you gotta, So a Republican puts a bill forward to write this law enforcement agency out of existence by law. Well, that didn't really go over too well with LDS member Brother Biggs, who ran the Arizona legislature at the time. Yeah. Andy Biggs killed the legislation that would have gotten rid of this police force. So they still exist. They've rebranded themselves the Colorado City PD. They no longer call themselves, that hokey ass shit that, I don't know what is wrong with these people. It's all Hollywood bullshit. You know what I mean? I had an argument with my idiot neighbor that is not my neighbor anymore. Thank God. He was losing his property to the county for not paying his fucking taxes. So my other neighbor on the other side, who's a good guy, by the way, like you, Rick, he's a good guy, bought the place. So that guy's freaking gone. But I had an argument with that idiot about carrying a gun. Cowboys did not carry fucking guns. They didn't. You know me. I like my guns. I like to shoot. A cowboy is a dog. I put a pin in it. We're going to take a left turn for just a second. This pisses me off. Cowboys, that is dog ass labor, my friends. That is hard fucking work. That is labor. That is like construction work. When's the last time you went to a construction site and saw a construction worker up there framing something that had a 6-shooter on their hip? You don't do that. You don't carry a big chunk of metal. Cowboys did not do that. That is Hollywood bullshit. If a cowboy had a pistol, it was in his saddlebags on his horse. They carried a rifle to collect food. That's what they did. You know what I mean? But it's all this Hollywood bullshit, which is, I went off on a tangent because they called themselves the Marshals down there, the Marshal's office. Now they've rebranded to, Colorado City PD, but they promise you they're much better now. By the way, this cult still exists. The FLDS cult still exists. Yeah. Just like I've told you before about like the Branch Davidians down in Waco, they still exist. These cults don't go away. They don't. But they just want to assure you that the Colorado City PD are much better now since Andy Biggs killed the legislation to write them out of existence. Yeah. Yeah. That's who these people are. That's who these people are. The Department of Justice is saying these people are rotten to the fucking core. We have to get rid of them. The Attorney General, the Republican Attorney General for the state of Arizona, tried to get rid of this police force. The Republican, this guy by the name of Tom Horn, tried to get rid of him. But Andy Biggs, LDS Andy, nah, you can't interfere with the way the LDS runs all the shit around there. That's who they are, folks. That's who they are. That's their Christian nationalistic view. They want the churches running the police forces. They want the churches running the schools. They want the churches running. They're fucking nuts, man. And they're proving it. They're proving it. Their candidate in Arizona is one of these fucking Christian nationalist nutballs. And Katie Hobbs is going to kick his dick in. Yeah, which brings me to this. One second. This is Elizabeth Lee. Elizabeth Lee is running against Mark Lamb in Arizona's 5th U.S. Congressional District. With all we're talking about, this is where you are? Really? Are you a troll? Are you not paying attention to the show? Are you... Now, I'm against AIPAC also, don't get me wrong, but I don't understand this. I mean, do you wake up in the morning and, you know, like your coffee's scorched and you just say, AIPAC? I mean, what the fuck, man? I'm putting on a show here. Maybe follow along. This is Elizabeth Lee. She's an incredible candidate. They call her Nurse Lee. She is a nurse. She is running against Mark Lamb in Arizona's 5th district. This is Arizona's 5th district. She has a real shot here, folks. This is exciting stuff, man. This is exciting stuff. She has a real shot. See, this is Phoenix. You see the Phoenix area up here on the left, Tempe, Scottsdale, Mesa. Yeah, she's got a real shot. This is the Republicans just nominated Mark Upside Down Pineapple Lamb as their candidate here. And you have Elizabeth Lee. And let me tell you something. She is doing the work. She is driving the tires off her car. She is running around. She is meeting with anybody and everyone in this district. She is doing it right. She is straight up killing it. Killing it. 100% killing it. And she's going to have the coattails of Katie Hobbs to drag her along. And we are going to make sure that every one of these allegations that come out against Upside Down Pineapple Lamb, we're going to talk about. We're going to put them front and center. We're going to give him the Graham Plattner treatment. We're going to make sure that everybody knows every allegation that is coming out against him. So yeah, watch this space. It is going to be good. It is going to be good, folks. This is going to be some of the funnest, best politics that you have ever seen. I'm telling you, do not sleep on Arizona. I want to go back to that person that I just excoriated for being I don't get it. I don't get it. I agree with what you're trying to do and say, but I don't understand having a one-track mind like that. There are other fucking things going on. And just to give you a little bit of a taste of how much I actually do agree with you, here is Zoran Mamdani nailing it.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than...
I want to be clear about this. This is not AI. This was put out by Zoran Mamdani himself. This is on his social media. This is 100% on his social media, and he kills it here. Absolutely kills it here.
Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, the architect of a horrific genocide against the Palestinian people. He is responsible for the killing of more than 73,000 people, for the maiming of tens of thousands of children, as those who survive undergo amputation without anesthesia, for the targeting of neonatal hospitals and maternity care centers, denying newborns even the chance to live, for the countless people he starved as he blocked food and humanitarian aid from reaching them, for the gunning down of hundreds of aid workers and journalists. And just last month, the UN confirmed that Palestinian children continue to be deliberately targeted and killed by Israeli armed forces, more than 8 months after the so-called ceasefire. The list goes on and on, all as we, as Americans, pay for the bombs that do the killing. There is a reason the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for his arrest. As human beings, we have spent generations building a shared understanding that there are crimes so grave they offend all of humanity. Anyone, with their eyes, with their heart, with their conscience, should recognize the devastation he has wrought and understand that he belongs before a court of law. As I've said, I agree with the ICC that Benjamin Netanyahu should be arrested and tried for his crimes, as I do for anyone else charged by the ICC. My administration has reviewed every avenue available under applicable law to determine whether New York City could execute the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant if Benjamin Netanyahu came here. It is clear that we do not have the independent legal authority to enforce this warrant. The federal government, however, does, and I call on them to join the ICC and execute this warrant. And I want to be equally clear. Benjamin Netanyahu is not welcome in New York City, nor is any other war criminal at large. While we cannot end the genocide on our own, we can decide whether our silence will become another weapon, and we can examine every tool we have to defend the humanity and dignity of all people. That is my commitment to you.
I'm glad you're here. I am glad you're here. I am. And I just want you to know I've got no anger towards you or anything like that. But I will tell you this. When I said the exact same thing that Zoran Mamdani just said, that he does not have the authority to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, I got attacked by the anti-AIPAC people. Yeah. I mean, it was by the hundreds on social media. I got attacked for saying exactly what Zoran Mamdani just told you. Folks, I'm not going to fucking lie to you. Even when I agree with you, I'm not going to lie to you. When I said Zoran Mamdani can't arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, you are just, you're an Israel Democrat shill. That's all you are. Well, you know what? Fuck you, man. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you the law so that you know, so that you don't spend all your time on social media, demanding that Zoran Mamdani do something he can't legally fucking do. How about we focus on what we can do? But that makes me the biggest fucking asshole in the world because I won't cheerlead every goddamn notion you have in your head. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to tell you what's right, what we can do. I'm not here to stroke every notion you have. Anti-AIPAC people, I'm not. I'm here to tell you realities like there are districts in this country that are pro-Israel. They exist in reality. You know that non-social media thing that everybody lives in called reality? Those districts exist. And because those districts exist, there are candidates that have to run in them, which are going to have counter ideas to what most of us agree with, but they still have to run there, and we still have to hope they win. You know why? Because if the Republicans maintain control of all three branches of government, they will look at it as permission to continue to do the things that they have been doing. They will look at it as permission to take women's rights to vote away. They will look at it as permission to take women's ability to get divorced away. That is really on the fucking table, folks. They're telling you, if you'll listen to them, So, yeah, when I tell you, I agree with you about AIPAC and Israel's influence in the government. And I agree with you that if Israel does not this October, they have elections in October, we have elections in November. If we do not absolutely show the world that we are not Donald Trump, America will deserve what the world does to us. We will deserve it. If Israel does not show the world that they are not Benjamin Netanyahu in October, Israel will deserve what the world does to it. This is all truth. But because I will not stroke every goddamn notion that comes out of the anti-AIPAC people's heads, oh, I'm pro-Israel. I'm just a establishment Democrat shill. You goddamn right I'm a Democrat shill. I am trying to get Democrats elected. That is what I'm doing. What are you doing? Rant over. Let's get to those comments. Let's do it. Kismar, thank you for supporting the show. I really appreciate you. I really do. Rich, thank you for always being here, and thank you for always being so generous. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I do. Ray Lee, new member. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Beth White, glad to see the new members. Glad to see the new members. Under construction. Good morning from East Tennessee. Healing nicely from surgery. Say hi to Mark Lamb for me. He lives out there now. Healing nicely from surgery and getting ready to hit the big 7 Ohio on the 2nd. Good. Glad to see you doing well. I'm glad to see you're doing well. Glad to hear the surgery went well. Love it. Randy Ryder. And now the motherfucker wants to give Saudi Arabia nukes. Yep. E.T. Lamb just tells me that old Republicans are staying home. I'm telling you. This is going to be a good election, folks. This is. Seaflan, welcome. Glad you were here. Chandra, damn. Well said, Chandra. Well said. Kim, HR guru, scary people, LDS, FLDS, or gross. You know, I actually know some Mormons that are good and decent people. I know some shit Christians. I know some shit Muslims. I do, but I know good people in every group. I am loath to broad brush most religions. I am, because you're going to find people in them that you're tarring and feathering with the rest of, like shitty people like Andy Biggs. V-Man, Paul, you see Marco Rubio accused Cuba of propping up the left in the U.S. and its territories. Yes, because it's not, but it's not because of pop policies they run on. It's clearly big bad Cuba, which can't keep the lights on. Yeah, they're constantly doing that victim mentality shit. There's always a boogeyman, always. That's just who they are. They got to keep them stupid and scared. Dave Barone, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. I hear you, brother. I hear you. Michael Antonshoe, thank you for being so generous. Thank you for gifting the memberships to people so that everybody can participate fully. Dimebury Garage, hey, Texas Paul, here with you as always. Thank you. Mike Daly, the Dim. Morning, brother. I'm so looking forward to the Republican Party being relegated to Netflix crime documentaries. Amen. This is going to be, when we take the White House in 2028, whew, man, these investigations are going to be something. Veggie Owl Girl, back in the day, and sometimes you had to turn your weapons into the sheriff. Got them back when you left home. Yeah, Wyatt Earp was famous for this. One of the most famous lawmen, and they just ignore this. They just ignore it. You could not come into one of Wyatt Earp's towns carrying a gun. You know why? It's really simple. Cowboys coming in off the trail, like Dodge City was a cattle town. You're a cowboy. You've been driving cattle for 2 months, 3 months. You got paid when you got to town. So you're talking about somebody that ain't seen a woman, ain't had a good meal, ain't had a decent drink in months, just got a pocket full of money. What did they do? They went into town. They went to the entertainment. They got drunk. Well, hey, you know what? Drunk and armed is a bad situation. So as sheriff, they said, no guns. Come on in, have a good time. No guns. Duh! I mean, God damn, man. The fake made up bullshit that surrounds it. And you know me, I love my guns. I love my guns. Literally have an HK right here. Right here. I love my guns. I do. I have a good time shooting. But man, the made up fantasy bullshit. Robert Garreau, did you see Hegseth get his ass handed in by Dem Senator Peters and off? You know what? Great segue, my friend. I did see it. Love this. Love this right here. This is what Democrats are doing. I love this. And I'm telling you, there are going to be so many freaking investigations. So many. When we take the House and send it back, there are going to be so many freaking investigations. You're going to love this. Just love his demeanor. I love the way Ossoff cares. This guy has got a future, and I mean a big future.
Day 14, nearly 5 months ago, you stated that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. That was on day 14 of the war. Was that an accurate statement?
They didn't have a Navy any longer. It was completely sunk. Their missiles were buried underneath a lot of their underground facilities, and their defense industrial base has been almost completely destroyed. So as far as a military assessment of Iran's capabilities, it didn't mean by any stretch of the imagination absolute zero, but their capabilities
Mr. Secretary,
at the lowest level
you
they've been in a
stated
very
that
long time.
on day 14 of this conflict, in the second week of the conflict, you stated that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. Was that an accurate statement? Yes or no?
Iran's ability to challenge the United States of America at the level at which we're capable of.
That's not what I asked you, Mr. Secretary. You said on day 14, Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. Yes or no? Was that an accurate statement?
What the American military has done to the
question?
Iranian military is a historic military
Will you
defeat,
answer the
and they're
question under
ineffective
oath?
in that context.
Secretary, day 14, nearly.
That's how you do it. That's how you drill down. That's how you don't let them bullshit. Don't let them anything. You just lay it down there. Okay, you will not under oath answer the question that you have just been asked by a United States Senator. You were sworn to answer our questions, but you will not do it. You will not do it. But you know what? I'll answer the question. I will answer the question. This answers your goddamn question. Iran has damaged bonkers numbers of U.S. military sites. More than half of America's military sites in the Middle East have been damaged by Iranian strikes. Yeah, folks, we've got 32 bases in the Middle East. 32. They have hit and severely damaged 16 of them. Now, many of which in the last few days. So let me answer the question. Pete Hegseth was full of shit. Donald Trump was full of shit when he said they had destroyed Iran's military, that they had made them unable to fight. When it was a lie. It was a complete and utter lie. There's your proof. Burning U.S. bases. Now, I want you to be careful, folks. Iran is playing the social media game. They are. You've all seen the Lego videos. You've all seen it has wildly expanded. They are pumping out AI-generated videos of attacks. They're not real. They're not real. If it looks like Hollywood, if it looks like something you've seen in a movie, just assume it's not real. There are dozens of fake videos all over social media that are going completely viral that are fake as shit. They are. They're just completely fake. So please be careful. They've even got so far as to they're generating fake news reports. They're literally taking people. Like I've told you before, apparently there's an AI version of me selling dick pills out of Romania or some shit like that. Yeah. That's our future. The Republicans do not want to regulate AI. That's what's happening. Iran is generating news reports that are fake bullshit made up thing using actual commentators, using actual anchors. They're creating fake AI. You know, the anchor is sitting there talking to you. It's AI. It's AI. So be very, very careful. If it looks like fucking Hollywood, it's fake. It is, because that's not reality. That's not what we're. Oh God, man, I hope your coffee's this good. I really do. I really do. Let's catch up on those comments before we get too far behind. Tamara Gase versus Netflix has a documentary, Stay Sweet, Obey and Pray, about Warren Jeffs and LDS. Yeah, watch. I was so grossed out about the stuff that came out about that. And then they turn around and put Samuel Bateman in charge. Another kid, and they still exist. They still do. The same people that put Warren Jeffs and Samuel Bateman in charge are still running that fucking cult in northern Colorado. Ollie, Israel is becoming a burdensome stone to us all. They are. If they don't deal with their Netanyahu problem in October, they will deserve what happens to them. They will. Ollie, keep up the truth, Texas Paul. Education is the key. We have 2 ears but one mouth, so listen and think, people. ET, messaging people, affordability instead of culture wars, Citizens United instead of APAC. Are you ready to get involved? When we do the work, it gets done. Amen. Glenn, thank you, brother. Thank you. Tube Kirk, Paul, not going to lie. I worry about feds seizing ballot boxes here and there, breaking chains of custody. I'm not worried about it. I'm really not worried about it at all. I'm not. Folks, if they go so far as to actually do stuff like that, it all burns to the ground. The only thing keeping us from violence in this country is democracy. And we are all armed to the teeth. Even Republicans know this. They talk a lot of shit, but they don't want it to come down to an ass-kicking contest. They don't. They simply don't. We control the ports. We control the major distribution chains. We control just about every fucking thing. And we outnumber them about 2-1. No. And we're all armed to the fucking teeth. So no, I am not worried that they're going to do that. I'm not. Will Trump try? Yes. Yes. Find me 11,870 votes. Yeah. He will try. He will try. Are there some sycophants out there that will do some stupid shit? Yes. Is it going to be a nationwide dissolution of our democracy where they, no, I do not believe that is going to happen. But I promise you this, if it does, I will lead the charge personally. I am telling you, I will lead the charge personally. I understand the concern, but I do not think it's something to be concerned about. Michael Antonsu, I read only 15% of Israel are against Bibi. That's bullshit. I've knocked this down several times, Michael. I have. That is a bullshit number. It is made up by these. There is an online presence that is just everything. Their entire existence is all about, from the moment they wake up in the morning. When they wake up in the morning and they don't have morning wood, they're like, Israel! You know, I mean, it's just their entire existence. And that's a made up number. It's about a 60-40 split before. We don't know where it's at now. It was about a 60-40 split before Netanyahu made Israel a pariah. It was. And they've got some dumb fucking people in Israel. Don't get me wrong. They do. So the mentality of the people that are, like the settlers Oh God, no, no. That's a waste of fucking time right there. It is. These people are, yeah, 100%. But you go into Tel Aviv, you go into Jerusalem, you go into Haifa, you go into no, there are people just like the Democratic Party. You know, you go out in the sticks, you're going to find some people, but you head into town, you're going to find most people are not crazy. Yeah, that 15% number is bullshit. I've knocked that down several times. Kyra loves Michael. Thank you for being here. Thank you. If you actually just go to Google, you'll see that it's a made up number. They'll tell you most people won't do that because they want to believe that for some reason, but it's just go look for yourself. You'll see it's bullshit. Oregon Wine Lady, Ossoff rattled him badly and then Kegsbreath lashed out at the next senator. Yep. They did a great job. They really did. Teresa Pearson. Good morning, Texas Paul and Mrs. Texas Paul. Project 2025 and The Handmaid's Tale. Yes. Look, let me say this again. They told us they were going to overturn Roe. We told you. For some reason, a lot of them out there in the stupids didn't believe us. They're telling us they want to go back to the days. Folks, it was in the 1970s when a woman could not get a credit card without her husband giving it to her. The 1970s, folks. This is not that ancient of history. They want to go. They're telling you. I have had more stupid fucking people around here tell me women shouldn't vote. The husband should vote for the entire household. They're telling you what they're going to do. And if we do not win and win decisively in the midterms, the Republicans will take it as permission. They just will. Your reproductive rights will be gone. Your right to vote will be gone. Your right to divorce will be gone. Your right to financial independence will be gone. It's that simple. I'm telling you, don't listen to me, listen to them. Laser corn. Each Patriot missile costs $4 million to shoot down a Shahed drone that costs $50,000 to build. Our arrogance will prove to get our troops killed. Yep. Amen. David Crisp. Glad you remember. Glad you're here. Daryl Curson. Keep reminding the knuckleheads what the real facts are. That's our job, man. That's our job. Netta Dahl, good to see you. Always good to see our European audience here. And the world is tired of American exceptionalism. Get a grip on your president. I'm just telling it like it is. I'm telling you, if we do not, we will deserve what happens to us globally. Mr. Knudsen, love the M1911 45 ACP and competition long-range 22 competition variants. Teaching my kids safety with low-power scoped air rifles. Best wishes from Norway. Yeah, man, I mean, they're delusional about it. Those right-wingers are nuts about guns. They think, I tell you, you want to know what my next purchase is going to be? I love guns. I really do. And I am a considerate individual. I'm going to fill out the federal paperwork to get a suppressor. And I'm looking at a Palmetto State Armory Jackal, Jakl. Look it up. And a 300 blackout because I want to run subsonic ammunition through it with a decent SIG suppressor on it so that it goes pop, pop, pop. That way, all these right wingers that do things like drive by and take pictures of my house and send me threats and think that they're hiding behind a VPN and shit like that. They don't know that I can actually still find them. When they come to be stupid at my house, I won't wake the neighbors up when I deal with them. Yeah, I'm considerate like that. I mean, why should there be a lot of noise, But anyways, You're talking about Hegseth. This is what he's focused on. This is what he's focused on. 1 second. Pseudofolliculitis barbae. Anybody knows what it is? Pseudofolliculitis barbae. Does anybody know what it is? Anybody been in the military? If you're in the military, you probably know what pseudofolliculitis barbae is. That's putting it mildly. There are people, and it's more common among African Americans. I have a friend who is ginger who has this condition. If he shaves and shaves closely, it is extremely painful for him over the next few days because the hair on his face does not grow out. It grows sideways. So when somebody with this condition shaves closely, as they demand in the military, it's a problem. They get covered in bumps and they're extremely painful. They can get infected. It can cause scarring. It's more common among African American men. You have seen this. You didn't know you were seeing it. Have you ever seen an African American man and they look like they have like pits on their face? They have very coarse looking face and you'll see pits on them. That is pseudofolliculitis barbae. It's very common among African American men. More common, I should say, not very common, more common. So, of course, that is what Pete Hegseth is focusing on. No more exemptions for pseudofolliculitis barbae. Why? Because it's going to drive African American men out of the military. That is what my friend had to do when he was in the military. Again, ginger white dude. He would go to the military barber and they would put Nair basically on their face and they would shave them with a butter knife. And he had to carry a pass on him to show why he was not tight shaven. You cannot be like this in the military. You cannot. Trump is more Trump and Hegseth are more focused on this kind of stupid shit because the bigots know it's going to drive more African Americans out of the military. And Hegseth's dream is for it to be all white, all white, all white. That's what he wants. That's what he wants. He wants an all white military. It is just that simple. That is what he's focused on. Meanwhile, that video clip I just showed you of him and Ossoff. Do y'all understand what that is all about? It's about this. This is about this. Yeah. See, Kegbreath and Trump, they want to add $500 billion. $500 billion to our already massively, grossly bloated defense budget. Unfunded. And they got this already. Republicans have blown up the defense budget to $1.15 trillion every year we're spending. What are you getting for that? I want to roundtable this particular part of the discussion. And by the way, ADC 50, by the way, that is the Appropriations Defense Community. Yeah, that's who this is, ADC 50. They are celebrating their new largesse. Bet you didn't know that this was an actual thing. American defense contractors are partying it up because Mike Johnson passed a bill with $1.15 trillion into defense spending. Let me ask you something. What do you get out of the military? What do you get for all that spending? Has it been helpful? In your lifetime, has our military been helpful? I'm not talking about the soldiers. I'm not talking about the sailors. I'm not talking about the Marines. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about as an institution that Republicans use. Has it been helpful? If it has, please let me know. Because I can give you one way that it has been helpful. It's a jobs program. But it's a way too expensive of a jobs program. It is way too expensive of a jobs program because the defense contractors take the lion's share of that money. It doesn't go to the soldiers. It doesn't go to the sailors. It doesn't go to the people. And in fact, every time we try to reduce this, that's what they do. They run to the Marines, they run to the sailors, they run to the soldiers, and they tell them, look how shitty things are here. And they're trying to make it worse for you. They're trying to take your cookie. No, we're trying to get rid of the absolute disgust. You know, we didn't used to do that as a nation. Nations didn't used to do what we do. They didn't keep massively bloated armies standing at all times. They didn't do that for a reason. It's stupid. It's dumb. It bankrupts you. I want you to keep this in mind because you're about to hear from Republicans that they can no longer afford you or grandma. They are. They are about to come tell you that they can't afford college. They're about to come tell you they can't afford your Medicare. We got to do something about that. They can't afford Medicaid. We got to do something about that. They can't afford Social Security. We got to do something about that. They just dumped $1.15 trillion into trillion, not billion, trillion. $1,150 billion into a military that I'm not seeing any of you explain to me what you're getting out of that military. Our military could be pared down to a quick reaction force. And if there's ever a need to go to war, we could do it traditionally. We could ask for volunteers. We could build a military. We don't have to keep one, this massively bloated thing. Folks, we have 32 fucking installations in the Middle East alone. And half of them just got the shit blown out of them. And we're going to pay to rebuild them. This is idiocy. This is lunacy. And I'm going to need you to remember when they come to you and tell you they can't afford grandma anymore. Bingo. Bingo. All of this money, and they can't take care of the soldiers that come back home. Too expensive. Too expensive. They can't afford you. They're telling you who they are if you'll just listen to them. If you will just listen to them. If you'll just listen to them. And delusional Trump is putting things out like this. Delusional Trump is putting things out. He thinks this is a winning argument. He does. Afghanistan War, 20 years, 2,000 dead. Iraq War, 9 years, 4,600 dead. Vietnam War, 19 years, 5 months, 58,220 dead. You're making our point how useless our military is. Korean War, 3 years, 1 month, 36,574 deaths. Venezuelan War, 1 day, 0 dead. There wasn't a war. That was a kidnapping. Iran military conflict, 4 months, 18 days, 18 dead. He thinks that's a win. He thinks that's a win. He really thinks that this is a talking point. When they're sitting in with hat in hand asking for Congress for billions upon billions upon billions of dollars for another war that they have no access. That was the takeaway from those hearings, folks. They have no clue how to get out of this. And it's becoming obvious they don't want to. They want to do this forever. And they're just fucking clueless. They are not us. They are bad people. They are bad people. This is Yvonne Missy Woods. This is Yvonne Missy Woods. Yvonne Missy Woods worked for the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. She was a DNA scientist. Yes, like most cops, she's a conservative. Which just red flag for me, tells you she can't be trusted, shouldn't be trusted, has to be overseen closely, none of which happened. So for over 20 years, while she worked for the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, Missy Woods deleted DNA data. When DNA would come back positive, when tests would come back positive for male DNA in sexual assault cases, she would delete it. She would delete it. Then she lied about it. Then she went back and deleted more DNA evidence to cover her own trail so that she could say that she was doing all of the safeguard tests to make sure that there are protocols put in place to prevent false positives. There are protocols put in place to prevent DNA from just vanishing. Well, when people started asking questions, the first thing they do is go to the protocols. She went back and deleted more DNA to try to cover her tracks. People, we are not the same. We are not the same. She just pled out. She's getting 8 years. 8 years. She was a superstar in the DNA testing community. She got caught rerunning tests until she could come up with data that gave her the answers she wanted. We are not the same. We are not the same. We believe in regulation. We believe somebody should look when you're responsible. When you're responsible for people's freedoms being taken away, yeah, we believe somebody should be looking over your shoulder. We believe that there should be regulation. There should be daylight. Anybody should be able to go back and look at your work and see what you're doing. These people, nah. You hear it from them out of their own mouth. Regulation is bad. Government's bad. Then why are you in fucking government? I'm telling you, it just never, ever ends. This is Alan Chambers. This is Alan Chambers. He ran an organization called Exodus International. He's the pray away the gay guy. He is one of the loudest voices that kept this whole gay conversion therapy torture bullshit existing. Exodus International was an organization for men. Now, I want you to picture who these men are. They are in a fundamentalist Christian setting anyways. That's the only way you get into Exodus International is, your church got you to pray away the gay. Now, these men who are gay, there's no such thing as praying away being gay. You are who you are. You're gay, you're bi, you're straight. You are who you are. No amount of praying is going to change that. People are who they are. But I want you to picture the kind of men, because it's men. Exodus International is about men. That get pushed into a group like that. Exodus International is about a group of men. They all prayed away their gay. Oh, and life is so much better now. These are people that were not living their open lives. These are people that ended up in marriages and then got caught because they're actually gay. These are those tragic stories that you hear over and over and over again because our society is we attack people that are gay. People don't be who they are. Then they get forced into these molds. They get forced into these fucking marriages. They have families, but they're gay. They're gay. And they end up acting on it later. And then you get somebody like Alan Chambers that's going to pray away their gay, and then they're going to fix everything, man. It's bullshit. People subject their children to these guys, and it's fucking torture, man. It is mental torture on these children. It is. Well, Alan Chambers was just arrested soliciting a 14-year-old boy for sex. He was going to rape a 14-year-old boy. Every time I see one of these people in a church that are vehemently, like online, we'll be talking about any subject you picked. Israel, we'll be talking about Iran, we'll be talking about Syria, we'll be talking about Canada, we'll be talking about, I'll get some Republican, you're gay. I'm like, yeah, and I need to see your search history. I need to see your search history. Because these people, it's a red flag. Every one of these people, it's always a red flag. When you are focused on this, when you are hyper focused on this, that tells me you have problems. You're not dealing with the fact that you're gay. You're not living your normal life. You have been one of these people that are you mentally fucked up in the head because you suffered abuse as a kid because you're gay. That's the red flag I get. When I get one of these people that come into my comment, you're gay, and I need to see your search history. Let's compare search histories. Mine has kinky midget trapeze porn. What does yours have? What does yours have? Let's compare search histories. Mine's legal. Mine is all grown up. What is yours? And then they go away because they really don't want to compare search histories. They don't, because they're all people like this. They are all people like this. And you've got to ask yourself, how does a group like Exodus International, function? Well, they've got to have lawyers, man. They've got to have a ton of lawyers because, there's going to be damage done by these groups. I mean, you're going to, they are. I mean, who would be the lawyers for somebody like Exodus International? I mean, okay. This explains a lot. Before running for Congress, Mike Johnson was a lawyer for Exodus. This explains a lot. I'm just going to let that just soak in for a minute. Yeah, I'm going to let that soak in for another minute. So the guy running Exodus has just been arrested for trying to set it up, solicit a 14-year-old boy so he could rape him. And his former lawyer is Mike Johnson. Tell me that doesn't just explain a lot. Tell me that doesn't explain why Grindr crashes every time you have a Republican convention. Actually, Charlie Kirk's funeral crashed Grindr. I don't care that you're gay. Lindsey Graham, Lindsey down here. Yeah. I didn't ever care that you were gay. I cared that you hurt gay people. Can you hear me down there, Lindsey? Probably not. Yeah, Mike Johnson was the lawyer for Exodus. Rena Scott, I got married in 1972. I couldn't buy a car to get a job without my husband's signature. Exactly. And that's what they want to go back to, Rena. That's what they want to go back to. You couldn't rent an apartment without the signature of your father or husband. Don't go back. That is exactly what they want to go back to. Wendy Bauman, I was a Mormon. Long story, but trust me, LDS did not jump that far from FLDS. Yeah, there's a lot going to come out about Andy and old upside down pineapple Mark Lamb is not a one-off. It is not a swinger lifestyle. Is a thing in that community. It is. Gail Brownell, Ukraine has changed how wars are fought. Texas Paul, is it true our bases in the Middle East are all badly damaged? About half of them are. They're destroying aircraft, and our government's lying about it. They're destroying aircraft on the ground, and our government's lying about it. Veggie Owl Girl. I'm ex-military and female. My understanding was that a beard would prevent a gas mask from sealing properly. A friend of mine, female, didn't get her mask on in time, and her face melted off. I don't know about melting off, but I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, that is why they have special care for people with folliculitis barbae. They do. They could only serve. My friend was an aircraft mechanic. He was a machinist. They have to go and they have to get the hair removal stuff put on their face and taken away. I mean, it's difficult. It is a difficult thing for them to deal with. Not so much difficult for the military, because the military has been dealing with this forever. This isn't about dealing with that issue. This is about removing black people who this disproportionately affects out of the military. You know, the guy with Deus Vult, God wills it, tattooed on him, and the Jerusalem cross tattooed on his chest. That fucking guy. Marshall Cash, and the Republicans will scream illegals. Yep. ET. They think their billionaire donors will back them, and they will. They will. Denise Smith, thank you for funding. Thank you for funding the show. I'm truly grateful. Agent Cajun John, thank you for being so generous, John. Thank you for being so inclusive, brother. I hope everything's going well up there in Canada. And I want to apologize again for our government's behavior. Want to slap 50% tariffs on Canada. Why? Why do they want to slap 50% tariffs on Canada? Because this whole thing about debt, blowing up our debt, even Cletus understands that. So, hey, let's slap some tariffs on Canada. We'll make the American people, we'll tax the American people, we'll make them pay additional fees for everything that they buy that comes out of Canada. We'll steal it as taxes and pretend like we're not rocketing into debt over this stupid shit. Mr. Knutson, $300 billion could cover quality nursing home expenses of over 3 million elderly. Today, 1.8 million gets care, and they pay most of them themselves. Imagine what else you could get if you'd spend less on war. I preach, brother, preach. That's our Norwegian brother Asbjorn. Netta, that's our Danish sister out there. Preach, man, preach. More Americans need to, one, vote like they're going to be poor, because we are. If you're in the top 10%, overwhelmingly, the math says you were born there. People need to vote like they're going to be poor. People need to vote and think. Stop this delusional bullshit. We cannot afford this military. But the Republicans will say, we can't afford you. It's bullshit. Imagine, just a second, imagine what it would be like, what the world would be like if instead of funding the military, we were funding colleges, healthcare, infrastructure, modern ports. Imagine the jobs that would create. High-speed rail systems, high rises in cities, subsidize building high rises in cities so that our infrastructure doesn't have to be spread out over massive, terrain. Yeah. Housing, imagine it. And the reason we can't have that is Republicans. They've got all the money in the world to spend on war and hand to their donors, their military contractor donors. They've got all that money in the world. But you, grandma, being able to live independently? Nah. Republicans keep telling you, fuck you. It's about time people started listening. Gregory Brown. They're the ones who break Grinder everywhere they go. Yep. At a funeral. They brought down Grinder at Charlie Kirk's funeral. I guess they were sad and needed to cuddle. Skeet Sayre, the Southern Church and those right-wing universities are responsible for carrying on the Confederacy. Yep. And the daughters of the Confederacy still exist today. Weird Idaho liberal. Hey, Bunker Buster, catch you on a replay tomorrow on my way to Moses Lake paper run. See you Sunday. It's going to be the only day I catch you live from here on, but I will still be lurking in the shadows like a weirdo. Hey, man, glad you're always here. We're looking forward to when you can get back. You're always a hoot, my friend. Skeet Sayre, once a week. Every left-wing fighter like you should highlight Mamdani at least once a week. Yeah, there's more to it than Mamdani. I hear you. When he does something good, you'll hear from me. There's a lot of Democrats out there that are doing good things, man. Elizabeth Lee. I'm about to introduce you to a guy from here in Texas. You're going to love this guy. I'm going to bring him on the show. You're going to love this guy. He is the next big thing. Trust me on this. Fort Worden, Florida, thank you for the much-needed civics refresher. You're welcome. That's my job. Crafty Ass Gardner, thank you for buying people the memberships. Thank you for being so generous. Skeet Sayre, 50% tariff is so stupid. We don't care what Trump says. Only the news in Canada takes Trump serious. I'm telling you, Trump is a piece of shit. Oh, she changed it up on me. Thank you, honey. Thank you. Well, look, I don't want this show to be negativity. I don't. No, it's not Clayton. I love Clayton. Clayton's killing it. He's running for agriculture secretary here in Texas. No, this guy, wait for it. You're going to love this guy. I don't want to leave on something negative. Something incredible has just happened. I'm talking life-changing for me. How many of y'all have been in the audience have been touched by cancer? Either your family or yourselves. How many of you have been touched by cancer? That was a round family, round table. How many have you been touched by cancer? Mom, my mom too. Glad you beat it. Wife, Steve, wife. Breast cancer, Gail, breast cancer survivor. I'm reading your comments. Took my brother at 42. So many people. This is for you. This is the Japanese tree frog. This is the kind of thing that Republicans will scream. They'll pull it out of a line item. They'll pull it out of a line item in our budget, and they'll say, "Why are we studying the eating habits of Japanese tree frogs? They're just wasting your money. Look at that. Government's bad." Wait for it. Isn't he cute? They were studying cancer in Japan. And one of the things they found out is many cancers, they create an environment. They're very difficult to treat. because the vascular structure that they create, it's difficult to get treatments into tumors because of the way they construct themselves. And your immune system sees it as you, so it doesn't really attack it. So for a while now, they've had an idea. What if we could find a way to convince your immune system to go after cancer rather than, irradiate people and all the harsh treatments that we have today? What if we could just boost your immune system and point it at the cancer? Well, they said, well, what would we need to do that? They said, well, we can try viruses, but the immune system doesn't do really well with viruses. Well, what about bacteria? And I'm walking you through the thought process here. Well, what about bacteria? And they're like, yeah, that's probably a good way to go, bacteria. What would we need though? Well, you need a bacteria that could actually thrive in that environment, that would actually, survive in a tumor, which is a tough place for any organism to live because of the way these cancers are structured. Those of you that have dealt with cancer know how difficult it is for the treatments to work, the vascular construct of them. So they started looking for bacteria that do well in those environments. And they found Euangella americana. That's the name of a bacteria. It grows in the gut of Japanese tree frogs. Euangella americana. It thrives in low oxygen, low vascular environments. So they took it, isolated it, and injected it into tumors. And boy, howdy, was it happy. It went nuts in tumors. It loved it. And your immune system said, hey, what the fuck is going on here? You're not supposed to be here. And remember, the immune system isn't a sniper. Your immune system is a B-52 carpet bombing run. It doesn't come in and just, well, let's take this out. It decimates the cells in the surrounding area. And it destroyed these tumors. Euangella americana flourished so happily inside tumors that your immune systems went nuts and destroyed the tumors. But wait, there's more. There's more. Your immune system is smart. So not only did they come up with a treatment that really works, that doesn't decimate your own body, they work with you to build up your immune system, get you as healthy as possible. Then they inject you with Euangella americana into your tumor. Then that bacteria goes nuts and your immune system reacts to it and kills it. But your immune system is smart. When the tumors tried to grow back, your immune system said, fuck that noise. We've seen this shit before. And it reattacked the tumor, even without the injection of the Euangella americana. Not only have they found a cure for most cancers that is in trials right now, it is in animal trials right now and having massive success. It's so successful that they're actually going to shorten the testing and move to human trials. But not only does it not just kill cancer, it trains your immune system to hate the tumors themselves and acts as a vaccine for cancers. And because it is your own immune system that is learning and developing, it works on multiple kinds of cancer. So if you have lung cancer and it metastasizes, your body will still remember. That's what killed my mother. She had lung cancer, was cured, lived for another 10 years. It metastasized into brain cancer. So not only thanks to science do we have a cure for most cancers coming down the pike that is incredibly effective, incredibly inexpensive. This is cheap, folks. Ungella americana is easy to grow. It is easy to grow. It is effective. It is inexpensive. It will be accessible to everyone. And it will not only kill cancer, it acts as a vaccine for future cancers. Science, bitches! I want you to think about that the next time a Republican tells you, can you believe they're studying the diets of tree frogs with your money? You goddamn right they are. Amen. Love to our scientists. Big love out to our scientists. Big love out to our scientists. I want you to focus on what we could do, what we could be, why we're not that now. If we focused on our resources, on education, on infrastructure, on the things that are important in our world, instead of the fucking military, which eats up such a huge portion of our budget. It's the Republicans that do this. It's their fault. And they will come to you over the coming weeks and months and tell you, grandma's too expensive. You're too expensive. We got to cut that Medicare. We can't have health care. That's going to happen. When they come to you with that bullshit, or they come to you with some bullshit for Cletus about, we spent money studying the digestive habits of tree frogs. I want you to look them in the eye and tell them, you goddamn right we did. And it changed the world. Love science, baby. Love science. That's what I've got for you today, folks. That's what I've got for you today. Enjoy the tea. Enjoy the fact that we're not going to let Mike Johnson loose on this. Exodus International, he was their lawyer. He worked for them. Their leader has been busted trying to rape a 14-year-old kid, 14-year-old boy. Pray away the gay bullshit. I told you, doesn't that make you look at Mike Johnson and say, I get it. I get it. Andy Biggs and his protection of the FLDS cult and their Christian nationalist police force. Doesn't that make you say, I get it. I get it. I get it now. I get it now. That's what we're doing here, folks. We're going to make it happen. Be ride or die, baby. Be ride or die. And on that note, enjoy some Texas cities at night.